This is lesson 41, and I think this is the answer to that question of how do we find hope in the world that we see? And the answer lies in the way that we see the world, not in the world itself. And the lesson is God goes with me wherever I go. Today's idea, God goes with me wherever I go, will eventually overcome completely the sense of loneliness and abandonment which all the separated ones experience. So let me read that again. It says, today's idea, God goes with me wherever I go, will eventually overcome completely the sense of loneliness and abandonment which all the separated ones experience. That's us. Depression is an inevitable consequence of separation. So we can't get away from depression and hopelessness when we believe it's separation, and ultimately it's separation from God. Depression is an inevitable consequence of separation. So are anxiety, worry, a deep sense of helplessness, misery, suffering, and intense fear of loss. This is a great line, and this is really about the world. It says, the separated ones have invented many, quote, cures, and cures is in quote, for what they believe to be, quote, the ills of the world. So don't we have so many cures, in quotes, they don't really work, right? Seeking after power and fame and money, you know, all the things, our addictions, our idols in the world. We try to make the world a certain way to actually fill up this perceived sense of loneliness, abandonment, the gap in us. So he goes on, he says, the separated ones have invented many, quote, cures for what they believe to be, quote, the ills of the world. But the one thing they do not do is to question the reality of the problem. Yet its effects cannot be cured because the problem is not real. So this idea, this problem of separation, I put it in quotes, is it's not ultimately real, but it's where all of our suffering comes from. It's where all of our hopelessness comes from. And what we end up doing is trying to manipulate or change the world out there in the hopes that we're going to one day find the hope we're looking for, the peace we're looking for. And we never can in the world because the world itself is built on separation. It's built on chaos. Now, it doesn't mean we can't shift the way we see the world, which is possible. Once we shift it says the one thing they do not do is to question the reality of the problem, yet its effects cannot be cured because the problem is not real. When we shift, we start to see that this problem of separation is an illusion.